Okay.
Okay, so the thermal mode, like I said, it's already set. You don't have to worry about any of that out there. And then you're back to settings. So that's really all that you have to do on programming the pump out there. Okay.
So there's nothing here got to do with the heater.
No, you just turn the heater on. It has a on-off and a temperature. That's it.
Oh.
So you set the temperature. The only thing you would do here is let's say you do. It's getting now wintertime and you do want to heat it up more, get it a little warmer. You might want to program this to run a little bit longer. You know what I mean? So number 6, you might want to kick on for. You might want to program number 6 to run for an extra, like 4
overnight,
hours.
you know,
Yeah,
during the night
yeah.
time.
But you can just come over here and hit number 3, and that's just going to turn on and run until you turn it off, and then you kick your heater on out there. But you could also just turn program number 6, and then you can disable number 6 when you don't want to use it. You know what I mean? And then just come and enable it when you want to use it out there. So that's the only thing you'll use differently. If you get a controller later on, it'll have a thing to where you can set the temperature of the heater, and it'll kick the pump on and run and off. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So it's depending on how warm you
Can
want.
we add this controller later on?
Yeah.
But
And most
I don't
people
know if it'll
don't.
go through the fence though, because we're going to fence this area. with
Oh,
the
it don't
same
matter.
kind of fence.
It'll
About
have
a control?
it'll have like a
Yeah.
little antenna that sticks
Oh,
up
okay.
right there, and you'll just have a little controller that you control
Okay.
it. It just without spas, most people don't spend because they're not cheap. So most people don't spend the money with them out there. You know what I mean?
How much that goes for?
About $2,400.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's what I say. Because it's more for a spa, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it controls the heater on the spa, the pool, the salt, but it will control the salt system too. It'll control the pump. It'll control the heater, the lights. It'll control everything for you from up there. You know what I mean? You don't have to go flip the switch. You can just do it on your phone, or you can do it on one of the handheld ones out there, depending on which one you get out there. Okay.
So Bruce, adjusting the time and the speed for a pool that size, what's our goal? Are we trying to turn over the water once in 24 hours, or?
Yeah, it depends on the speed that you got. Typically, like I said, how you set your speed is really how long you. With these, they're nice. I run my pool 16 hours a day.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, because I run it so efficiently. You know what I mean? I don't run my waterfalls all the time. Now, so if you run your waterfalls, you got to have your pump run a little higher. I don't run them until I want to run them, and then I turn it on, and then my pump amps up because I have a controller too, though. But so it depends on what you set your speed at. But you got to remember, these are running so energy efficient. Now, when you run that, it's a different story. But when you're running this pump, my electrician runs his about 24 hours a day.
Really?
Let's picture this. Let me start it here. So when you're done, you got to push the start, okay? And then that light comes on, and now your pool's going to start up out there. So let me let it start up and prime back up, because we opened that up, the water went down. So let me let it prime up, and I'll show you something here on the display. It has a little air release button up here. So if you're waiting for it to prime up, you can actually open it up a little bit, and it's going to help prime it up a little faster. Yeah, but it'll prime itself back up. Okay, so when it primes up, it's priming up at the 3000, the high speed. So it can prime up, and then it'll go down to the 2700.
That's what you said it for.
Yep. Okay, so it went down to the 2700. So it's telling you here 2700 RPMs, and then it's telling you, see, it says the watts right there, 1073 watts. Okay, so let's say you bought a pool. Well, you can still buy a pool today, and they just put a 2 horsepower pump on this, because you have an in-floor, you'd have a 2 horsepower pump. That 2 horsepower pump, when it runs every day, it's going to run right at close to about 2500 to 3000 watts when it runs. With this variable speed pump, you're already running half the cost of that. So a lot of people see this 2700. To get it energy efficient, you can lower that down, 2650, 2635, 2625, 2628, whatever you want in there to get it more energy efficient and bring that down. But you got to remember, the lower you make that, you're making energy efficient, but you're now
Less
not circulating
efficient.
your water very good.
Right.
So,
Less
but
efficient.
that's what a lot of people, they visualize that and don't visualize this part here, the watts. That's
Yeah.
what you got to pay attention to. That's your energy efficient, not this part here. So if this was just a single speed pump, you're talking 2,500 to 3,000 watts. You're half of that. So right now you can run this thing, most pools run about 8 hours to do a good turnover on a water. So you can run this thing 10, 12 hours, turning it over almost twice and still saving
You
half
still
the
not
cost.
spend that
Yeah.
much, yeah.
The cost of this is going to usually run you about 15 to 20 bucks a month on your electric bill. That's it. On a regular pool pump, it's usually about 40 to 70 dollars a month out there. So
That's a good investment.
yeah, so yeah, I mean that's well worth the investment out there. On new pools, there, you know, it's about $600 more to buy this than a regular pool pump, but within about a year or two, you paid for it with your electric bill alone. Plus, it gives you a lot of options, and the pump lasts longer too because of the features on it, the priming of it, the temperature sensor of it.
Right.
You know, if it loses prime, it'll shut itself off. You know what I mean? So it don't burn itself up like a regular pool pump will just sit there and run until it burns up
Right,
out there.
right.
So it does save a lot of wear and tear on the pump out there itself too. Okay, so that's kind of what you got to pay attention to. And like I said, you know, right now, usually around, I mean, I've had people get them down to 2,200. You know what I mean? But when you have an in-floor, remember, that thing is designed to push that debris down and then suck it down that
Then
drain.
you lose efficiency in the pool itself.
Yeah, so your waterfalls don't, you know what I mean? Now you got to turn more to your waterfalls and less to that, you know, to get your waterfalls to come out. So just remember that when you're programming and where you set it at. You could, like I said, you could even go up a little higher if you need a little bit better cleaning out there and still be, you know, half the cost over
Right,
there. So
yeah.
don't worry about this part of it. You look at that part for your money savings out there. And you just got to remember, if I'm anywhere 1,000 to 1,500, I'm still way half of what that is. That's why we set them up to run. Normal pools run about 8 hours a day. When we set them up, I usually set them about 10 because you get a little bit longer and you're still saving tons of money out there. Okay. So that's all in programming this here. Okay. So now on our cleaner and our salt cell. So on our cleaner or our filter system, basically you're going to look at this gauge here. Okay, so let's just say this is perfectly clean. We'll see what it is once I clean it out there. But let's say it's perfectly clean and it's on about 15, 16 pounds of pressure out there. So whenever that goes up, 8 pounds beyond that point is when you need to clean this filter. Okay, never let it go past 30. If it's at 30, it's pretty dirty and it probably needs to be cleaned. Or something's turned wrong. One of your handles could be turned wrong, which is back pressure in it. Okay.
And so every mark is a pound?
Yes.
Every little mark?
Yep, every little mark there is a pound.
So
Okay.
how you get the back pressure to clean it?
Okay, so when we want to clean it, so all we want to do now, let's say it went up and we need to clean it, because we're
Yeah.
going to clean it. I'm going to tell you how to do this and the salt system at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you to do these every 3 months.
Oh.
Then you don't really got to pay attention to that.
Okay.
So that's the best way to remember it. If we have a hurricane or something, then you need to look at it. You know what I mean? But on your everyday, you should get 3 months out of it easy, and then
Okay.
clean it because you're supposed to clean this every 3 months.
Oh.
Okay. So if you do this at the same time, you don't got to remember when to do that, when to do that.
Right.
It just makes it easy.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So how we're going to clean these is we're going to go over here. We're going to turn the breaker off. Okay, which is your filter and chlorinator light.
Oh.
Just flip it off. That turns the power off of everything, so nothing's going to turn on while we're doing
And
it.
the pump is off.
Yep,
everything, right.
yep.
Okay.
Because we're going to unplug the salt system, which is this one here.
Oh.
Okay, the black cord. It has a little nut on the top of it. You just unscrew it, and it pulls out. Push it up in, and screw it back in when you're
What
done.
is that? Electric?
This is a transformer and goes to low voltage.
Oh, okay.
So they want you to turn the power off, so when you're plugging in and out, you don't power surge it. You know what I mean? To
Oh,
the cell.
okay.
This
Oh,
goes
okay.
all the way over here to this cell.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see
Over
that.
there. Okay.
Make sure Ralph doesn't see.
Yeah, I told them stay away.
Yeah, so, yeah, like I said, you can probably tie it up to this, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So we unplug it, okay? This is not gonna need clean yet, but I'm gonna tell you how to do it. All you do here is you unscrew these,
Right.
Okay, this whole thing comes off of there.
Right.
You'll soak this in muriatic acid and water, 50-50. Okay, you can get a bucket. I always tell you to look for like a bed pan or a Tupperware pan that'll fit in a bucket. You have to set it in this way, so it takes more. If you find something that you can just set it down in like that,
Right.
it doesn't take as much to do it because
Exactly.
you only need this much, you know, instead of this much
Yeah.
out there. But you'll soak that. Just let it soak. You can do it right here. You just put it in there, let it soak for about 10 minutes.
That's it.
Yep. It's got little metal plates that run through there. You're trying to clean them off because it'll get calcium buildup and stuff on them little plates in
How
there.
you clean them?
That's what you're soaking it in. That
Oh,
acid
oh,
will,
so there is
that
not
acid
some-
cleans them off. Yep.
No brush or anything?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. You just soak that in there for about 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what makes this faster is why that's soaking. If you do them at the same time, this is what speeds it up. Instead of doing 10 to 15 minutes here and then 10 to 15 minutes here, while that's soaking, now you're ready to start this.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this one, you open up your air relief. That's going to let the water gurgle down. Okay, in there. You got a little button here. It says push. You just push in, untwist your lid.
Oh, that's what locks that.
Yep, it locks it in. These little pins hit that and
Right.
locks it in.
Yeah.
You have these little wedges, and you have these little holes here that go around. There's a couple of them. You can put them wedges in there, and then it helps you pry it up.
Oh, okay.
It's still suction cup right now, so. I don't want to get soaked. it'll just gush out on my feet. Okay, so undo that. Just set that off to the side. So now, yeah, it's actually not that dirty. This is the DE powder, the white stuff.
Yeah.
And it's more pure white when it's clean, but it's actually not too bad. But we're gonna clean it anyhow. So now that we got it taken apart, we want to take this.
You need a hose?
Yeah, we have a water hose over on
Yeah.
this side.
Is that a replaceable part? That whole thing?
Yes, you can replace. Well, you won't. It'll be a long time. Mine's 8 years old,
Oh.
so it's not like a regular cartridge. A regular cartridge you got to replace about every year and a half, 2 years. This one, because it's like a plasticky material. Dog hair, or your hair. It's like a plasticky material here, so it'll last you as long as he's cleaning it every 3 months. It'll last you quite a while.
Okay.
If you don't, what happens? It gets too dirty and it starts crunching itself, and it'll rip from up there.
Oh,